it's Lexi, and welcome back to another episode of the 20 Effect. I'm so happy that you're here today because I am talking about all things graduating, life post-grad, and how to figure out who you really are in your 20s. This is all kind of advice that I wish I would have had when I was first graduating from college, and just some things that I've learned over the past couple of years. I also want to kind of share my story and all the things that I've gone through that have kind of led me up to this point. And so it is graduation season, which is such a sweet time. I know a lot of people in my life are currently graduating, and they're kind of going through what I went through of not really knowing what's next for them and really just lost and kind of figuring it out. And I want to just say I've been there, and that is also very normal. And so some pieces of advice that I've learned over the past couple of years is that there is so much pressure put on us when we're 18 and graduating high school, and then again when we're 21 and 22 and graduating from college, of knowing what we want to do for the rest of our lives. And I feel like let's just take that pressure off. Like, step one, take the pressure off of knowing what you want to do, because I can guarantee you the people in your life, their lives are not going to look the exact same as they were when you all first graduated from college. I know a lot of my friends in my life, they're no longer living in the same city, they're no longer working the same job, or they're no longer in the same relationship, like whatever it looks like. All of the close people in my life, their lives look very different from they did when they first graduated. And that's okay, because it's life and that's normal. And so I just want to start by take the pressure off and know that it's normal and it's okay to not know exactly what you want to do, because your 20s are the time where you're able to take those kind of risks and do the things that maybe scare you a little bit, but you can do now and you're able to do now, because I feel like in your 20s, there's a little bit more of a softer landing spot for if you do fail. And also, if you fail, it's okay. But later down the road, you might have a career and a family and a spouse that you need to provide for, and you might not have the same or be in the same spot to be able to do the things. I feel like that's a piece of advice that people tell me all the time is they wish they would have done this in their 20s and that in their 20s. And I always say, like, now's the time to do it, but it's just a piece of advice that people have kind of given me of like, oh, I loved my 20s. I'm so glad I was able to do all those things. And because they're not able to do those things in their lives anymore, things look a little different. So that is just some advice that I have of it's okay to not know what you want to do, and no one's in the same spot as they probably were when they first graduated college. And then take a couple risks in your life and take a couple risks in your 20s and really just do the things that you're maybe scared to do, but you really want to do. Going off that, saving your money. That is a huge thing that I've learned the past couple of years, is saving my money and also figuring out what to do with my money. I had one credit card in college, and after graduating, I really took the time to read books and watch videos and figure out, okay, what should I do with my money? Because I actually started to make money for the first time. And I can guarantee you, you're probably in the same spot of you're making this money for the first time. What do I do with it? I don't have all the advice when it comes to money. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure out taxes and all those crazy things. But now's the time to kind of figure that out. And I remember I went to a bank, sat down, laid out everything and kind of figured out, okay, what's going to be the best credit card for my benefit? Where should I be investing my money? Where should I be saving my money? And so those are just kind of things right off the bat when you start making money. Figure out what to do with it, how to save it, all those fun, crazy things. And then also, I found it was really productive for me to have a side hustle, and I still do, but kind of something on the side outside of your normal day-to-day that really makes you happy and excited, but something that you're able to make money from. For some people, I know that's like flipping furniture or selling clothes or babysitting, DoorDash, whatever it looks like, something to just kind of take your mind away from work or school if you're in school still, but something that's going to make you some extra income too that you're able to either save or use towards fun things like travel or anything like that. Also, talking about travel, I feel like traveling in your 20s is so important. I know I've learned so much about myself and life while traveling. And if you don't have a passport, get one for sure and travel to that country that you've always wanted to go to, or even that state or city or place, whatever it looks like. Like, if you can afford to do it, go and do it. I've been able to experience so many different cultures and again just learn so much about myself, and you're more than likely going to deal with some like bumps in the road while you're traveling, and being able to figure that out as you're going along. And again, just meeting people. I've met so many awesome people on my trips that I'm still friends with, and we still connect on social media. And so if you have the means and you're able to travel in your 20s, because it's going to teach you a lot about yourself and a lot about the world. And I can guarantee you, you're probably going to fall in love with it. I know I got the travel bug pretty soon, like pretty quickly, and I just love doing it. It's something that I feel like I always try to prioritize and do, and has just really grown me as a person. So definitely recommend that. I also would recommend getting hobbies. I was watching a video a couple months ago, and it talked about how back in the day, people were a lot happier because they had like a third place. And what they mean by that is your two places are home and then work or school. And that third place, like the gym, like the tennis courts, like a park, whatever it looks like, a restaurant, those are kind of like the third place where you can socialize and meet people and put yourself out there and just have something to look forward to and go to, rather than just like going to work and going home. And so finding hobbies, I know that was super fun for me when I was first graduating, of really figuring out, okay, like what are some things I can pick up. I remember I kind of got into pickleball and just really kind of got into working out at the gym and all those things, and just found hobbies that made me really happy and really just added and filled my cup, added to my life. And they were ways that I was able to meet people too and make friends and just do fun things, learn a new skill, whatever that looks like. So I definitely recommend that. Of if you've always wanted to try tennis or whatever, do it. I swear there's pickleball clubs, there's run clubs, there's all these things for young adults that are available to us that might not have been there years ago. And so I definitely recommend just putting yourself out there and trying those new things, because it could help you meet people. It could just give you like a space to kind of decompress from the workday, and also just keep you active and keep you busy, which is good. I also would recommend, if you're able to, and this might not work for everyone, but if you're able to, I would recommend moving somewhere new. And it can be scary. I will say right after I graduated college, I ended up moving home. And I can talk more about that later, but that was like a whole experience in itself for me. But then I knew I wanted to move somewhere new and just try something different. And literally moving to Arizona has been the best decision I've ever made. And I've met so many amazing people here, and I've just had so much fun here. And so I recommend, unless like your hometown or whatever is where you want to be for the rest of your life, if you're wanting to live in a new city, and again, you have the means to do that, do it, try it. If you're there for 2 months, oh well, at least you tried, but I think it's been such a great decision for me, and I love the fact that I was able to move here on my own and really just figure it out. And so that has been really great. And so I think if you're able to do it and have the means to do it, go live in a new city, experience something different, experience something new, because it's only going to make you a better person. I can tell you that. Another thing I want to talk about is making friends. I feel like making friends in your 20s can be really difficult. And I think the only reason for that is because when we're in college, we're just surrounded by people constantly. And when we're in the real world, or when we're working and things like that, our circles might be a little smaller, which is fine. But I feel like if we're not finding that third place or not really putting ourselves out there, there's no place for us to meet people. We're not going to meet them at home, So I think being bold and taking that leap of faith and going out of your way. I feel like that's something I've had to learn, is really going out of my way to make friends. It's not as easy as it was in college, but it's so worth it. And I feel like, again, I've just grown as a person, learned so many people skills, learned so many like communication skills just by putting myself out there and trying to make new friends. And again, I can guarantee you, if you're moving to a new city, there's 1,000 other people that just moved to that city too and are probably looking for friends. So the more that you just put yourself out there and try to meet new people, I think the better it's going to go for you. I've made some really awesome friends by just doing the scary thing and asking someone to grab coffee or asking someone to hang out. And literally, like, we're all adults. No one's going to be rude and say no, you know? So I say just go for it, just do it. More than likely, that person is looking to find some friends too. So going off that, I do want to talk about dating a little bit. I feel like I've done a little bit of dating in my 20s, and I think if anything, it's taught me more about the type of person that I do want to date and I do want to be with and marry. But it's also taught me so much about myself, because I feel like first dates are scary. Let me just get that out there. They're scary. They're nerve-wracking. It could either go really great or really bad. I've had a little bit of both. And so I think, again, it's a way to put yourself out there and really grow yourself as a person. But then also, while you're dating, you're really figuring out what you want in a partner. And the biggest thing that I've learned is, okay, these are qualities that I want in a person and I want in a partner. But what qualities would that kind of person want in a partner? And so kind of thinking like, okay, if I'm holding my future spouse, my future partner to this standard, what standard am I holding myself to? Like kind of turning it back on me and being like, okay, if I want someone that's active and athletic and works out a lot, I probably need to be active and athletic and work out a lot, you know? So, or if I want that person to have a really great relationship with Jesus, I need to have a really great relationship with Jesus. And so just kind of thinking like forward and thinking, okay, these are the qualities that I really want in someone. These are the qualities that I maybe don't want in someone, but what are the qualities that that type of person that I really want would want in me? And what maybe qualities are they looking for? And that doesn't mean change who you are. It just means elevate yourself to that next level and really take the time to work on yourself and improve those things about you. And so that's been really awesome for me with dating. It's a struggle. I will say it's not always fun, but I will tell you it is worth it. And even through the heartbreak and all those things, I've learned so much about myself. I've learned how I deserve to be treated. I have learned how I deserve to be respected and just pursued and all those things. So that's been super helpful for me. I know it's hard, but if you are single and you're kind of going through this season of singleness, embrace it. I know everyone says that. I have my days where I'm like, I don't want to embrace it. I just want to be in a relationship. But I can tell you right now, the sooner you embrace it, the more you're going to learn about yourself and the better person you're going to become. So yeah, that's kind of my little tidbit on dating and the advice that I've learned through that. Another big thing that I've learned these past couple years is I read the book Atomic Habits, and that has been so helpful with helping me start a routine. I remember my college coach at the end of the year, she always gets the seniors like a book at the end of the year banquet, and the book that she got for me was Atomic Habits. And I don't know whether she picks them out and she thinks of us when she probably does. I don't know. But that was the book that I had gotten. And I remember being like, oh, I feel like I have pretty good habits. Like, that's kind of weird. And then the more I started to read the book, I was like, no, I don't. I actually have really bad habits, and I still do. I'll be real about it. But like, I snooze my alarm every single morning and it's terrible. But that book really opened my eyes to really creating a routine, especially in your 20s, and like setting yourself up for success for the day. And so just finding a routine that works for you, that works for your life, that works for your schedule. But then also, I'm such a type A person and like OCD and love to plan. I've had to find time in my routine that like things don't have to go perfectly. I might not check off everything on my to-do list that day. I might not get my routine perfect that day, whatever it is, but just having kind of finding that rhythm and that routine is going to help you so much to stay productive, stay motivated, and accomplish and do the things that you really want to do. And it's just been really helpful for my life, especially because I know everyone's lives look different. Mine is a little crazy with as far as schedule. Like I don't work a normal 9 to 5, but for those of you that do have a 9 to 5 job, college is not like that at all. And so really just figuring out, okay, what's something that's going to help me get through the week? What are things I can do every day that are going to better my life and improve my life? So kind of finding that, creating a routine that works for you, but then also allowing wiggle room in there a little bit to go out with friends, hang out with that person, like whatever it looks like. Be okay with being able to take a break from the routine too and do something that's fun. And so, yeah, that's kind of that on routine. I also, these past couple years, have been working a lot, like a ton. I don't even want to think about the medical bills that I've had to pay, but working on my health. I was diagnosed with celiac disease last August. And so it's been a struggle and it's been a journey, but I would have never have known that if I wouldn't have taken my health seriously and gone to these doctors and taken these tests and blood tests and all these things to really get to the bottom of why I was feeling a certain way. And so prioritizing and taking care of my health, I feel like that's a little investment that I've like made in myself of like, I started going to therapy for a bit and I really started looking into like what foods am I eating? What am I like consuming? How am I moving my body? How like just little things that I was not doing in college, I can tell you that I am taking care of now and working through now. And I know that has just helped improve my life a lot, is just really prioritizing my health. I can tell you that my body is not the same as it was when I was 19, and I am feeling that for sure. And so I don't know what the switch is. The minute you graduate college, suddenly like your body just changes a lot, and then your brain is like fully developing during that time too. And so I feel like it's so important to prioritize your health. Also, being an athlete in college, I feel like I always struggled to find a really solid workout routine. I'll be honest, I'm still kind of working on that, but I think finding workouts and things to stay active that you love. My sport was my workout in college, essentially. And then the minute I graduated, I had no clue how to work out, what to do with my body, how to move my body. And so I've really had to figure out, okay, what type of workout routine is going to work for me in order to accomplish the goals that I want to when it comes to my health and fitness. It has been a journey, I will say, but that has been something that I've really been able to kind of learn, and advice that I kind of have for people who are coming out of college, who maybe were athletes in college too. I also want to talk about my last kind of point is your 20s are an isolating time. I'm just going to say that. They're very isolating. You're no longer surrounded by all these people. You might be living alone. You might not be living in a house with like 4 other roommates anymore. Or you moved back home with your parents and you're trying to navigate that and figure that out. It's an isolating time. And I think a lot of people feel like it's isolating because they think they're the only ones going through what they're going through, when in reality, we're all going through it. We're just not talking about it. And so I want to first say, I need you to be okay with being alone. And that's something that I've had to learn. I feel like I've always been pretty independent, but when I first graduated and I was traveling on all these choreo jobs by myself, I had to figure out how to be okay with being alone. And so what I would do is I would go on the plane and I would have to turn my phone on airplane mode so I'm not getting any notifications. And I would just be alone with my thoughts, and I could watch a movie, I would listen to music, I would look out the window. But essentially, like, I would just be alone. And then I would go check in my hotel room and I would be alone. And I would have to be okay with that. And so what I started doing is the cities that I was traveling to for choreography and for work, I started exploring those cities just by myself. And again, like, please be safe. I was very like smart and aware of my surroundings, but I was exploring these cities alone. I remember I was on a choreo job in Seattle and I Ubered downtown and I walked 10 miles around Seattle by myself. I did the same in New Orleans and just other cities, Milwaukee, and I ended up, one, meeting people and making friends, but two, just like learning a lot about myself. And I feel like if maybe people that struggle with anxiety, I know that I do, but if you're not okay with being alone because you're scared of your own thoughts, like, you're not okay being alone because you're not happy with yourself. I feel like if you are happy with yourself, you're okay with being alone. And so I feel like that isolation and that time period where I have been in situations where I'm alone has allowed me to work through things where I actually like myself now and I'm actually happy with myself and I'm okay sitting here, being alone, being by myself. And it's also taught me like a lot of boldness and a lot of courage of when I am alone, doing things by myself, and being okay with that and being okay with going out and having a day by myself, going to church by myself, whatever that looks like. And I'm not perfect. I'm still working through it, but I want you to focus and work on being okay with being alone, because I think a lot of people don't work through that and don't deal with that, and that can have repercussions later down the road in life. And so really just be alone. Put yourself in a place, go on a trip by yourself, whatever that looks like, where it's just you and God, and you're just working through things that you need to work through. I think it's such a great time to decompress too from everything. And so I know I'm a pretty outgoing person. I was not always that way. I was a very shy kid, but I love my alone time now. And I love just being able to do things by myself. Just be okay with being by yourself and really work on loving yourself and being happy with being alone and being with just you. So yeah, that is kind of all the advice that I have. I do kind of want to share my story a little bit in hopes that maybe someone can relate to it and really gain something from it. But pretty much what my life has looked like these past couple years. So senior year, I remember I cried every single day, just struggling with the fact of I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And I'm not kidding, cried every single day. And I remember the only thing that was really going for me was choreography, and all these other jobs I had applied for, I was just I don't think that's right for me. I just don't think it's a good fit. So I'm going to move home for the summer. I'm going to do choreography throughout the summer, and then I'm going to figure it out. That was my plan. And so I remember every year there's tryouts for the team that I danced on. And every year the seniors run the tryouts for next year's team, essentially. That's their last thing. So I'd already graduated. The weekend after was tryouts weekend. And so me and the 4 other seniors were helping run tryouts. We got to choreograph stuff. It's actually really fun. You never have to run the mile again, all those things. It's kind of fun being on the other side. And so I remember we were deciding the team, kind of making the final decisions, helping the judges with that. And then after the team had been decided, there was kind of this stillness in the room. And I remember looking around being oh, this is it. And we all kind of hugged my coach, said goodbye, walked outside. And I remember taking a moment and turning around and looking at the facility that I had spent 4 years in, 4 years of blood, sweat, tears, the place that raised me essentially for the past 4 years, and just feeling this emptiness of I had lost the most important thing to me at that point in time, because that's what I had put all my like identity into. And so I remember going back home, and my best friend Caitlin texted me, and I was like, hey, do you want to walk around campus like one last time? And so we did that. We met up, we walked around campus, just kind of like reminiscing on the past 4 years and the funny memories that we had and everything like that. And then my parents were coming into town that day to then pack up all my stuff and drive home. And so said goodbye to Caitlin, walked back to my house, packed up all my things, and then left and said goodbye to the place that I fell in love with for 4 years and got to experience for that amount of time, and the place that I like truly loved so much and had so many like fun memories there. And I remember I was pretty quiet on the car ride home, and my mom just kept asking me, she's like, do you want to talk about it? And I was like, nope. And so I pushed it down for a while. And then when I got home, it was kind of like God had isolated me to the point that the only thing I could do was start to work through those feelings and start to work through those things. And I realized that I had put all my identity into that. And I'm not saying that that's not okay, because I think it happens a lot, but it was just such a reality check for me of this is no longer your life, and you're going to have to accept that and be okay with that. And so isolation was, I think, the first step that God and I kind of worked on, was him just isolating me and pulling me away from all the things that I had prioritized, all the wrong things that I had prioritized for the past few years, and really putting me in a place of, okay, where do we go from here? What's next? What do we do now? And let me tell you, for those who just graduated or are looking for jobs, the job market is awful. And I had to deal with that for a year of working through applying for jobs, them not getting back to me not knowing if I'm moving to Florida or Minnesota or wherever, and just really trying to figure out, okay, what am I good at? What do I want to do? Where do I want to work? Where do I want to live? Like all those things. And I had gone through summer with choreography, was still living at home. I think it was such a sweet time because I got to spend a lot of time with my family that I'm extremely grateful for. And then I had taken a job nannying, and that was really great because I really got to learn like the family dynamics and essentially like helping raise like a little baby and a toddler and just taking care of kids. I think I learned so much through that, but there was so much of that time where I was just alone and I felt sorry for myself. Like genuinely, like that's what I was doing, was just sitting around moping, feeling sorry for myself. And it wasn't until I was like, something needs to change. I either need to start embracing the fact that I'm here living at home right now, or like I need to do something completely different because I'm going crazy. And so I remember I started to really embrace the current situation that I was living in and what I was doing. And when I started to embrace that, like my relationship with God grew so much, and I feel like I just started to become so much happier. And then I started to make friends, and then I started to like really put myself out there and have these fun experiences that I didn't have my first like 6 months living at home. And so I remember, and this is how I know God has a sense of humor and how he intricately writes and plans everything to a T, is when I had left Boise and said goodbye. That was May 15th of 2022. When I got the call that I had gotten the job at GCU, it was May 15th, 2023. And God spent 365 days, exactly a year, working on me and growing me and helping me prioritize the things that are actually important and helping me figure out what I want to do and the things that I want to accomplish. I remember I literally sat down and wrote out in a journal the things that I want to do with my life. And I feel like when you write them out and they're on paper and they're no longer like in here in your head, they become a lot more realistic. And then when you speak those out to people and speak those out into existence, it becomes even more realistic because now other people know. And so that was something that I did, of sitting down and really writing out, these are the things that I want to do, and these are the things that I want to accomplish. And I swear, the minute that I really started to embrace the season of waiting that I was in, the faster I got out of it, and the sooner God was like, okay, now it's time to move on and do something different, and like put these works that you've been doing into action. And that was really cool, because I look back and I think about how many stories there are in the Bible of people who waited so many more years than just one on God and had such longer seasons of waiting than I did, and they still trusted in God's plan for their lives and where they ended up going because of the work they did. And so I just want to share that and kind of leave that of God's plan is always better, and it's always worth it. And if you don't know where you want to go or what you want to do, that's okay. But to take the time to really work on yourself, be okay with being alone, do all the things that I kind of listed and things that you really want to do and things that you really want to work on, because it's going to be so worth it down the road. And I think also talking about these things have been really helpful for me, because I'm graduating with my master's in October, and I know I'm going to be in a very similar situation that I was in, of really just kind of figuring out like, okay, what's next? Like, God, what's your plan? I used to joke all the time in college, like, God's gatekeeping my future from me. And it was like, I'm so glad that he did, because I could have never imagined where I am now and the things that have kind of happened in my life and everything that's happened up to this point to where I'm at now. And one of those things on my list was starting a podcast, which is really cool because I wrote that down back in 2023. And so to see it come to fruition now has been really awesome. But my like hope for you listening or watching this is to just be okay with where you're at and really just embrace it, because I promise you it's not going to last forever. And I can guarantee you're going to look back on this and be like, oh, I wish I could go back, blah, blah, blah. Like, I look back sometimes when I'm in a crazy like day or just really busy with my schedule and with my different jobs. And I'm like, oh, it was kind of nice not having anything to do all day and kind of just doing whatever I wanted. But just know that your future is in God's hands, and he is going to take care of you, and he's going to lead you exactly where you need to go and where you need to be. So I hope that all this advice was helpful. I hope that you were able to just really gain something from this, and I hope that you can apply it to your life. And I can't wait to watch where you go with this, where you take this, and I promise everything is going to work out in God's plan and in his way. So I hope that you continue to trust in him and just trust that he has a plan for your life. And so thank you so much for watching or listening to this episode. For more content, make sure to check out the 20 Effect podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And I just want you to remember that no matter what you're going through, we're in this together. Bye, y'all.